Today, we have the pleasure and privilege of bringing you the knowledge and wisdom of renowned and eminent diet consultant and nutritionist, Dr. Zubeda Tumbi, who is going to share with us about food choices to help ease digestion. Not only food choices, what to eat, when to eat, how to cook, all of that. I leave the floor now to Dr. Zubeda Tumbi. Doctor, please, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I feel, oh my God. And a very good evening to all my friends, all the known people, and of course, all the viewers. We all know that the choices that we make with regards to food impact our health in many, many ways. And one understands that when we eat well, when we digest well, the food that we choose to eat, we stay well, we stay free from disease, and we stay free from drug requirements. Digestion is a simple process by which the food we eat and the drinks we have are broken down into smallest parts so that the body can use them to build and nourish the cells to provide energy. Very simply, digestion involves physical and chemical processes. When you start chewing the food in the mouth, the simple act of chewing mixes the food with saliva and hence the enzyme amylase, where starts your starch digestion. Then that softened food bolus runs through the esophagus and comes down to the stomach, and when it comes to the stomach, it starts being acted upon by acids, enzymes, and the proteins are broken down. This acidic chyme then enters the small intestine, where again it mixes with the juices from the liver and the pancreas, and there is total fat and carb and protein digestion. Then all those digested amino acids from proteins, the essential fatty acids from fats, and the glucose from the digested carbohydrates will be put into the bloodstream. The remaining waste matter along with the extra water goes into the large intestine for being excreted as feces and urine. Now, one has to understand that the food spends only about a minute in the mouth, say around 2 hours in the stomach. It stays for more over 7 hours in the small intestine and in the colon for more than 12 to 14 hours. But this journey would take more time if your lifestyle is not very healthy or if your food choices are very refined. Although humans are omnivorous, each culture, each person has food preferences and taboos, which may be due to personal dietary choices, may or may not be healthy. The word diet, which is used so often in today's times, implies that a specific diet plan is made to help take care of a nutritional problem or to help in weight management requirements. Friends, it is not just what you eat, but when you eat and how you eat that matters too. The circadian rhythm that the body has, which Mother Nature has given us, is a fantastic balance of the time that you eat, the food that is digested, and how that food is absorbed so that we can use that nourishment for carrying out our daily activities. But when we break that work-life balance, when we of today's times, because we are being homebound, or people who've been working in the corporate sector in offices till late hours, they end up eating till late hours, and they don't sleep at the right time, or they're not sleeping enough. That's when you disrupt this balance, and there is this increase in hunger hormones, leptin, ghrelin, which boost your appetite for all the wrong reasons. Also, timing of exercise. When you do exercise in the morning, the body will have a good rhythm throughout the day. It will digest the food well and will put all the nutrition to good use. Now, a lot of us before the lockdown, when we flew across time zones or ate, slept, and exercised at irregular times, we have completely disturbed that sync that the body has within itself. Very important for us to understand how that when we are able to sleep right, when we are able to get de-stressed, we will be able to reap the benefits of eating right. See, I was talking about the circadian rhythm and metabolism. Not only our ancient medicos, but also the researchers in today's time in the last 10 years have shown that the body's energy flow parallels that of the sun's movement. So your breakfast should be your best meal, your biggest meal. It'll keep your pancreas and spleen working healthily for you. Your lunch is required in moderate amounts. Make sure you have the right nutrients. So it promotes good heart health. A dinner, what we have done today's times is we have late dinners, we have heavy dinners. That should be changed because a light dinner will be well digested and will keep the kidney and liver function and the gut health at its best, so that you are able to undo the disease burden or keep away from more disease and more drug requirements. There was a study done where two groups of people were given the same amount of calories, but the group which ate a better breakfast lost 2.5 times more weight as those compared to having a very light breakfast and having a heavy dinner. So we need to understand that when you eat a higher energy, nutrient dense food in the morning hours, you will have a better basal metabolic rate. You will be able to burn your calories better and you will have a much healthier and active day. Late night eating will only extend that window when food is consumed for a long time and does not allow the digestive system to recuperate and burn the fat, because it is well researched that between the hours of 10 and 2, the liver tries to undo the damage that we do, that we give our bodies by our wrong food choices. Also, a lot of people all over the world, not only in our country or in Mumbai, have had this want to lose weight. Understand one thing, friends, that weight loss should be undertaken to serve its purpose of achieving health benefits and should be done under the guidance of qualified clinical nutritionists or dietitians. Beware against mindless dieting, against use of very low calorie diets or high protein, high fat diets like the Atkins, the keto, the intermittent fasting, skipping of meals, using meal replacements, or looking at Google for diets. One has to understand that your diets should be planned as per your body type, your age group, your compounding disease conditions. It cannot just be, okay, my friend ate this and so I lost 10 and I could eat this and lose 10 again. It's never a case of losing weight. It should be a case of losing unwanted fat so that your health gets better. In our country, a country of so many religions and so many diverse cultural dietary practices, where all of us are used to fasting. Fasting is very good. But what we do after fasting is feasting. And that feasting with the fried and mithais and those sweets, mishtans, is what disturbs the gut microbiome. We need to understand that when we have fasted for 12 hours, given our gastrointestinal tract much required rest, we need to break the fast with, say, fruits or say a lime juice or a coconut water, some lightly cooked vegetables, and then a roti made from an good fiber roti, unprocessed atta. Also understand that we have a lot of cooking practices, but the best cooking practices in Indian dietaries is steaming or boiling in little water in less time. Because when we cook certain vegetables, especially say tomatoes or carrots, we are able to get more amounts of lycopene and beta-carotene, which are not only antioxidants, but they help in cancer fighting properties. Warm liquids not only relax the muscles, but also alleviate pain. The gut microbiome, which is the second brain, also does better when you start the day with a glass of warm water. The use of resistant starch in Indian dietaries, especially when we are using leftover rice, when we are putting it in curds, does help to improve the gut microbiota and also improve the blood sugar levels. Now, when we are into, improper food habits or faulty food habits or improper food choices, and we experience symptoms like nausea, vomiting, heartburn, bloating, cramping, frequent diarrhea, frequent constipation, gas or flatulence, which later develops into, say, gastritis, ulcerative colitis, diverticulosis, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, we need to understand that the body first gives us those warning signs. And when the warning signs are looked into and when we start looking at corrective actions, we can get better. And we should not let the body go into these sad diseases, because that would be leading to more diseases. And Somebody has rightly said that what is life without a healthy liver or without a healthy gut? Simple lifestyle changes in diet and physical activity, which I will discuss in my lecture now, can very, very beautifully and very easily help alleviate digestive problems. Water is the elixir of life. Do not wait to be thirsty, guys. Drink enough water, consciously at regular intervals, so that a regular flow of water can prevent constipation, can help the food bolus move through the GI tract very smoothly with a smooth peristaltic movement, reduce the intake of caffeine, coffees, colas, because they dehydrate the body. Have at least 8 to 10 glasses of water. If you can't have water, look at herb water like Zira water or like a mint juice, a lime juice, a weak tea, soups. Make dietary fiber your friends. Dietary fiber very easily got from all our unprocessed cereals and millets. I just spoke about using whole wheat atta ki roti, jawar, barley roti, nachni ki roti, your beans, your sprouts, your nuts. Soak them, sprout them, use them, because all this fiber along with enough water will help in regulating the stool consistency and prevent constipation and diverticulosis. Add probiotics to your diet. Probiotics are very easily got from soy milk, dark chocolate, from kombucha, which is a herb tea, from kimchi, which is nothing but your fermented cabbage or cauliflower in vinegar. These will help in enhancing nutrient absorption, strengthen the immune system, and treat IBS. So I was talking about putting the leftover rice with water in matti ke bartan, in clay pots, keeping it overnight, and mixing it with some curds or chas with little salt, lime, chilies, curry patta, and ginger. See, curry patta, ginger are beautiful herbs which India has, and we have been using. Just use it more, use it effectively, which will make a great probiotic blend and improve the gut health, in making it a natural laxative. See, when you have natural laxatives, natural diuretics, the gastrointestinal tract will work in your favor and keep you healthy and strong. Make your prebiotics work efficiently with your probiotics. Now, prebiotics are a lot of your sweet potato. They are there in your fiber-rich foods. So your sweet potato or the potato with the skin, the banana, the strawberry, oranges should be had with the fiber. We're in the habit of removing those small fibers which come into your, say, santra, mosambi. Eat those small transparent fibers. Bring in, vegetables like your garlic, cut it raw, make a chutney, make a ginger chutney, use in mushrooms, use a lot of spring onions, mix it with your curd or your yogurt, because it is the yogurt which is the actual probiotic, but we can still use the homemade curd with our prebiotics and make it equally effective. It will not only improve the gut microbiota, but also prevent constipation and diarrhea and promote calcium absorption. Remember, India is a country of having an increasing prevalence of a population with sarcopenia, that is muscle loss, and osteopenia, which is bone loss. We also need to avoid foods which irritate our digestive tract. Now, what are those irritant foods? Irritant foods are your spicy foods, your extra amount of chilies, the use of caffeine, alcohol, nicotine through cigarette smoking, certain medications. A lot of us use a lot of medications today. Even young adults are using medications for acidity. Those antacids, friends, should be used temporarily when you are using medicines for any disease treatment. Don't make them your lifetime habits, because they are going to rob you of your important nutrients. Then desserts rich in sugar and fat, refined carbohydrates coming in through breads, biscuits, the fried foods, the oily curries, the fatty foods, because all these baked high-fat foods have age. Age is an advanced glycation end product which is linked to increasing inflammation. Normally, when you read your blood reports, you have an elevated CRP. That's a mark of inflammation. So when that comes into your blood reports, you need to understand that you really have impacted the body in a very bad way. time for a change. I thought that this would really help us understand that why we need to use lime, say vinegar, we need to use milk or just plain water. We need to use a lot of water and avoid using a lot of caffeine or sodas or baking sodas because these are going to impact our gut in a negative manner. Now, alkaline and acidic foods, very important to understand that though lime is acidic, lime juice or your citrus fruit, when it enters the body, it becomes alkaline. So alkaline foods are healthy foods. So do make a conscious effort to increase not only water and unprocessed grains and soya, coconut, your beans, brown rice, unprocessed cereals. Bring in a lot of fresh fruits, apples, soaked almonds, soaked walnuts. Bring in mushrooms, corn, olives, peaches, all the seasonal fruits. Make a conscious effort to reduce the foods which become acidic. Now, what are those? Those are your processed maida-based breads, your pastas, your noodles, all your burgers, all your alcoholic and cola drinks and fizzy drinks and all those energy drinks. Cooking is a revolutionary act, one that can heal you, your community, the whole planet. We have the power to change our world one bite at a time, and this starts in your kitchen. Let's see how. Indian diets are diverse, they are beautiful. We have so many methods and so many herbs and so many spices. We need to go back to our traditional ideas. We need to go back to using all our herbs and spices because they heal the gut and they have positive gastrointestinal systemic effects. A lot has been said and discussed about the use of pepper, cloves, cinnamon is dalchini, cardamom is elaichi, cumin is your zira, caraway is your ajwain, bay is your tej patta, fennel is your saunf, mint is your pudina, lemongrass is your gavati chai, then chamomile tea, ginger. These all are, they help promote good digestion. They can reduce nausea or cure you of nausea. Like I always advise my patient, when you feel like nausea, just cut a lime, warm it, sprinkle some pepper, kara mirch, and lick it. The nausea is gone. You don't need to reach out for medicines. When you have gas after a heavy meal, after a party meal, just make a juice of mint, ginger, lime, syrup, pepper, and you're good enough. We need to use all the foods available in our kitchen. Your kitchen is your best medicine chest. More on spices, the turmeric, which has antimicrobial, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory effect, used for GI problems or skin problems or even neurological disorders. It has curcumin and it has positive impacts on the gut microbiota. Friends, ginger and mint leaves can, stop the growth of Escherichia coli and Klebsiella because these are the microorganisms which create diarrhea, colicky pain in children and adults. So just using ginger mint effectively can help you come out of your amebiotic or stomach pain. Don't focus on how much you eat. Focus on what you eat, what you choose to eat. Now this is a normal fare in most homes. We like to have our oily sabzis, our overcooked sabzis, our oily parathas, our oily rice, and there's very less component of the raw vegetables. This is promoted by or developed by NIN. NIN stands for National Institute of Nutrition, and they developed a plate for us Indians. And it says that now it's high time that we fill half our plate with vegetables and fruits. We use our pulses. If you can use them whole by soaking and sprouting, use your nuts and seeds. Seeds includes not only your badam and pista and akhroat and kaju. You can look at pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds. You can look at nigella, which is kalonji. You can look at black seed, black till, white till. There are such a plethora of seeds and which are known to give us such beautiful health benefits. It's high time we respect Indian foods and bring them into our daily use. See, this is all about your unprocessed cereals. Bring in the unprocessed brown rice, red rice, the rice which is used in South Indian idlis, then the bajra. Gujarat is famous for ragi, comes from the south. The makkah comes from the north. I mean, every part of India has got all possible beautiful cereals, millets. We need to use them. Yeah, so cooking methods are important because खाना तो ले आए, लेकिन खाना कैसे बनेगा और कैसे परोसेंगे वो बहुत important है. Because मिल गया सब कुछ, लेकिन इस्तेमाल करने आ जाए तो health हमारा बेहतर ही होगा. So we need to look at what should be done more often in our Indian homes is boiling in little amount of water for short time, soaking before boiling, soaking and then sprouting. Sprouting is simply a simple example. When we are used to using only moong dal, tuver dal, I would say bring in green moong, bring in whole tuver, whole masoor, let it soak for 12 hours, then discard the water, wash, keep in a chutney, keep a wet napkin, it will sprout in 12 to 15 hours. When it is sprouted, it can easily be used raw in your salads, or you can grind, make into a tikki, into a small dosa, you can add it to your sabzis, you can make it like a rasa. Steam your vegetables, saute or pan braise the vegetables in little less water, less oil, cover and cook for short times. Roasting, you always had dry roasted chapatis, theplas, kakras, roasted chana, roasted peanuts. Just use them more. Today, India, urban and rural is using a lot of packaged processed snacks. Friends, whenever I am looking at patients who come to me and doing a dietary recall, it pains me to see that young kids are given with great love and care a packaged fruit drink, a packaged chips ka dabba, or a bread butter jam. I mean, we can very well spend little half an hour pre-preparation and make for our loving, for our beautiful little innocent kids, give a good idli, dosa, uttappas. We can give them a raita with a paratha. We can make a thepla with our homemade achars. Yeah. Now this baking, grilling, frying, which is so much in the environment today, thanks to we all being at home. क्या करें, लॉकडाउन है, हम सब घर पर हैं, पूरी फैमिली घर में बैठी है. So let's make something very exciting, very good. So we all are into baking cakes and grilling and frying pakodas. Make this minimalistic because I just discussed that baking gives you age. Age is the factor which gives you those inflammatory reactions. Grilling, especially grilling where the proteins of the foods are burnt till they are dark brown or black, this can actually be carcinogenic. Frying again develops a lot of trans fatty acids. Now, trans fatty acids develop in oils when you heat them for long hours at high temperatures. So trans fats are linked to poor cardiac health or cardiac disease and diabetes. And of course, motapa. Gut, as I always would maintain, is mightier than medicines. Make your microbial genes work for you. Because if your microbial genes, your gut microbiota is well maintained with good food choices and good food habits and regular food hours, then you'll be able to break our own fibers into short chain fatty acids. We'll be able to absorb our amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. We'll be able to absorb our vitamins and convert them into neurotransmitters and hormones. Also, now there's enough evidence that if the gut microbiota is good, then you can actually overcome diabetes and cardiac disease and require lesser or no drugs. The frequent and the higher prevalence of sweeteners in today's times, because we all want to cut on sugar. We feel that sugar में बड़े calories हैं, sugar कम कर देंगे. Friends, 1 teaspoon sugar just gives you 4 calories, but 1 teaspoon oil or ghee gives you 9 calories. We need to cut on the fat oil first. We need to avoid the use of sweeteners because all our non-nutritional sweeteners and our low-cal sweeteners have been linked to metabolic derangements. They are linked to increasing obesity. Yes, it's true. When we are using a lot of sweeteners, we have increased cravings for sweet foods. And that leads to a higher prevalence of overweight, obesity, cardiovascular diseases, type 2 diabetes. We need to undo this. Also, today, when you're looking at commercial products, read the labels. If the labels are talking about having used prebiotic polyols like azomalt, maltitol, lactitol, xylitol, then these are still healthier than compared to saccharin, sucralose, or even stevia, because a lot of research is pouring in with this link to tumors. Alcohol. Up to government ने भी relaxation दे दिया है, so alcohol is free flow, and they're all at home. I would say put a stop at that, reduce it, because you are only adding on to the endotoxins and destroying your mucosal immunity, because it increases the inflammatory cytokines, and then you are in for more issues. Smoking also gives you nicotine. So both alcohol and smoking destroy or reduce the beautiful healthy action of our gut, and reducing the absorption of nutrition from your GI tract. All habits, I would say, were never, born when the kid was born. The habits we develop because we get stressed, because we want to enjoy momentary pleasures. तो जैसे हमने वो आदतें डाली, हम वैसे ही उन आदतों को खत्म कर सकते हैं. It is always mind over matter. If your mind rules over your heart, you're the winner in any set of your life. With all this food talk that we are doing, eating at right time, we need to understand that we need to also bring in exercise. At least your body needs half an hour of regular exercise. Like when you have a bath every day, like you brush your teeth, like you do your pujas every day, or offer your namaz, make exercise for half an hour with regular pranayams a part of your life. I have enlisted these 5 yogasanas. Yes, Paschimottanasana, then you have this Balasana, Pavanmuktasana, Trikosana, and Ardha Matsyendra. These are beautiful asanas. You can look up the net yourself. You can take a picture of the asana and you can use them every day for just half an hour, and you will never have gas, flatulence, or constipation. There are naughty people who would say that आपने बहुत सारा गाजर खाने के लिए बोल दिया और मूली खाने के लिए बोल दिया. So now I'm going to enjoy halwa and paratha. Enjoy, but do introduce small changes. I would say introduce bigger changes in your diet and lifestyle, because they can not only prevent heart diseases, but they can keep your gut healthy, and they can keep your gastrointestinal tract working healthy and fighting fit. Every time, remember, you eat or drink, you're either feeding disease or fighting it. Guys, when people come to me, "Mujhe fatafat acha hona," I would say, sorry guys, there is no magic bullet. You gotta eat healthy, live healthy to be healthy, and look healthy, period.